Now for our roundtable with News Channel 5, political analyst Brian Crowley. And Brian, as always, it seems of late anyway, in the last several years, the insurance crisis, there are going to be a lot of people who say, still not doing a lot to help me. Others are somewhat optimistic. A session was wrapping, some effort to have a property insurance tax break on taxes and fees for property insurance. There were disappointed Democrats, at least, and others who thought that fizzled and that the return you'll get might be less than $100. The bigger point is Republicans argue give it more time, we're getting more carriers, and Dems say a lot more needs to be done. Lori Berman said that last week. Your thoughts? It's going to be a potent issue moving forward, one has to believe.
Well, the problem with giving it more time is people are getting their bills today. They're seeing massive increases in their homeowners insurance. You have two insurance companies that have suggested raising they're raising it by 54%.
Yeah, premiums.
I'm stumbling over myself right now. I'm trying to remember the number. You can't keep taking, this is the second, third session that's gone by without them taking any serious action that really helps lower rates. And at some point, voters are going to get tired of it.
Social media bill looks this time with revisions that it's going to move on through. Republicans are heartened by that. You've heard the critique about does it violate parental rights, First Amendment rights, but it is a sign of our times where we are. Your thoughts on that? It was a centerpiece and a lightning rod in some ways, depending on what point of view you had. Republicans said absolutely necessary. Democrats said leave it to parents.
Well, I do think it starts with parents. I'm not quite sure why the legislature needs to get involved in this issue. If you don't want your kids being involved in social media when they're 4 or 5 years old, well, don't give them a tablet. Don't give them a phone. I've seen kids in strollers with a tablet in front of them. Really? Let them look around. Let them be outside. Let them do other things. You can control social media at home. But we'll see how this goes. It's a complicated piece of legislation. I don't know how you keep the average 13-year-old from seeing what they want to see. They'll get around it.
There's an argument that it'll immediately be ripe for a court challenge. The Republicans late last week were heartened by a decision in a lower court in Texas on a similar styled bill there that was upheld. So we'll see how it plays out. Let's turn to Florida presidential politics as the stage is set with Donald Trump now calling Mar-a-Lago home, an adopted Floridian, and Joe Biden. You've talked for years that this is a red state. What chance does President Joe Biden have of wresting Florida from Donald Trump?
Well, it's slim at this point. I think that it's going to depend a lot on whether or not the Florida Democratic Party and the county party can move forward in a way where they can find some significant growth, bring their people together, show up on election day and really move the ball for Biden. I think it's going to be really, really tough. We've seen a huge increase in the number of Republican registered voters, over 800,000 voter lead over the Democrats. It's going to be tough. And we've had an issue this past week where there's been the county chairman in Palm Beach County was being ousted by the state chairman, and there's all kinds of turmoil going on with that among the Democrats. They really need to get their act together in the state if they have any hope of moving forward. The president's team and Democrats in general, not surprisingly necessarily, but after State of the Union said we feel energized, we're getting out there, we're going to start going to swing states. It was interesting to me that in the first batch, certainly not talking Florida. When we're talking swing states, we're talking places like Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. It's so funny to not hear Florida on that list, but how much can you afford not to make a substantial effort here, even if you think the odds are against you? It's hard for me to wrap my head around that political calculus that says, well, we just don't have much of a chance, don't put much effort in Florida. One of the downsides politically of us being such a big state is we're a very, very expensive state. So if you're looking where to spend your money to be most effective, and you're looking at swing states, and Florida has been very red for a long time now, you're probably not inclined, unless you see some dramatic change, in spending a lot of money in this state. You have limited resources. You can't spend it everywhere. And I think that they will not spend a lot of time in this state.
You've got former President Trump, all of his legal travails going on, and even setting that aside for just a moment, in terms of how he is, where he focuses on the campaign trail. If you're Donald Trump's advisors. What's the biggest thing they need to tell him that he's not going to want to hear, but he needs to hear?
Well, I think what his advisors are already struggling to tell him, stop the grievance, stop talking about how you lost the last election because it was stolen from you, stop talking about how everybody's picking on you, and talk about what you're going to do, what you're going to accomplish if you become president again, and how you're going to move the ball forward. And another thing he's going to have to start doing in the weeks and months ahead is he's going to have to go beyond the MAGA crowd. He's going to have to start pulling in some folks that are middle of the road, that might lean in his direction, including Republicans, and so that he can get enough of a majority to win in these swing states.
And what about President Joe Biden? What should his Democratic advisors be shouting in his ear, even if he doesn't want to hear it?
Travel, travel, travel. He needs to get out a lot more. He needs to, you very rarely see him doing full-blown press conferences. You don't see him, doing to the point. He needs to be out talking, and frankly, another thing he needs to do, he needs to go out and ride his bicycle more so that people see him doing active things that he's capable of doing and helping to get away from this idea that he's old and decrepit and can't make it.
Finally, from Tallahassee to D.C., what else top of mind for you, my friend? That's a full mind and a lot to ask, but what are one or two things you want to point out?
Well, I think they actually did a pretty good job with the budget and everything this year. They did some healthcare things that are very, very important that will help us add more doctors and nurses.
Live healthy.
Which we dearly need in this state. They've done a number of environmental things that I think are going to be very, very important with the problems we have in environmental issues. They've also, of course, as they have to do, they did some silly things like they're requiring the teaching of communism from grades K through 12. I don't know many 5-year-olds who need to learn about communism, but there you have it. And they've allowed, if a bear shows up in your yard and you feel a little threatened by it, feel free to kill it, as opposed to buying a bear can to keep them out of the trash. But that's okay. That's what we do.
Quick question. We'll take it up more another day. But when Ron DeSantis unceremoniously ended his presidential hopes and came back here, there's a question, how much power will he exert? Are Republicans going to listen to him? The jury's still out on kind of where he is, where he'll be in that mix in the next few years as he presumably points to 28, but still has a couple of years to go as the man in tally? Yeah,
I think we've seen a little decline this time, but he has something that every president wishes they had, the line item veto. So you can take every little thing you did and toss it out. And for that reason, they'll still pay him respect.
Still the most powerful figure in Florida.
Exactly.
Back with more from Brian, his closing thoughts in just a moment.